Hey guys, Gathering the Magic back again, and I've wanted to do this for a while. I'm going to go through how to play SplinterForge basically for new players, players that may be interested in playing the game but don't want to sink a lot of money into it, or maybe people that have been playing for a while and it's like, well, I don't do very well, I'm not sure exactly how to put a team together. So this is kind of going to be just kind of a guide for newer players and players that just kind of want to improve their deck. This is by no means the only way to do it or the best way. This is just how I've kind of built my account up using these tips and techniques and things that I will show you. First thing to do is just kind of set your sights on, okay, the first thing you want to do, regardless of the level of the cards that you have in your Splinterlands deck, focus first on getting as good as you can fighting the bronze boss and then work your way up. The different level bosses, as you can see, have different stats for your hero that they are maxed at. So for fighting the bronze boss, your hero, no matter what your stats could be, they will be capped at 10 across the board. Once you improve the gear on your character and have higher level cards, then you can move up to silver. And it's just like in Splinterlands. In Splinterlands, when you're playing the bronze boss or playing in Bronze League, your commons are capped to 3. Here in SplinterForge, your rares are capped also at 3, not 2. Your epics are at 2 and your legendaries are at 1. So at least looking at max monster levels, this is basically if you were playing against these leagues in Splinterlands. So think of the silver boss as Silver League, the gold boss is Gold League, and then the diamond boss as your diamond and champ leagues as far as your monster level caps. As far as your summoners go, your summoner level does not matter. As long as you have that summoner, either you own it or you rent it, you can use that summoner in battle. So the way this is going to work is you're going to start against the bronze boss, and you're going to say, okay, well, I want to get all of my stats as close as I can to 10. So the way you would do that, you go to your heroes, and this on the side will show what each of your characters has as far as their stats go. So you can look at your ranger stats, your warrior stats, and your wizard stats. Now, one thing that I don't know if everyone knows this or not, you don't need 3 separate sets of gloves, boots, chest piece, hauberk, and leggings. You can get by with just having one of each of these and just equipping it for all 3 characters. So the gloves that I have right now, I managed recently just to get my first gold foil epic glove. I equipped it on my wizard. Now if I switch over to my ranger, I also equip that same card on my ranger character as well. So you don't have to have 3 sets of your basically your armor pieces per character. Just as long as you have one of each, you're good to go. Now the ones you are going to want separate, because they are different going from character to character, are your weapon and your offhand. So for example, a ranger always uses a bow for their weapon and they use a quiver for their offhand. Your warrior will use a sword and a shield, and your wizard will use a wand and a tome. So those are going to be different going from character to character. Your armor isn't. Okay, so what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to get all of your stats as close as possible to 10. Now, the way this is going to work is when you have a hero that has nothing on, basically a naked hero, all of these stats are going to be 1. You will start, if you buy some crates and bags, you will start getting pieces of equipment. As you equip those pieces of equipment, these stats will increase. Just for an example, let's say you have common and you have a wand. You equip this wand, it's going to give you an extra 1 to your magic damage. So what you're going to want to do is either going by buying crates or buying items specifically off the marketplace at Splex, and I'll go over that in a little bit. You're going to want to focus pretty much on rares. Don't worry too much about getting gold foil rares. The reason I have all gold foils for this is I did a lot of combining and reforging of my commons into rares. Every time you reforge a common into a rare, you have a 10% chance that it will turn gold. The only difference between a gold foil and regular foil version is gold foils will give you a 10%, or gold foil rares will give you an 8% bonus to your forge earning for every battle. And gold foils will also take less cards to level than normal cards. But don't worry about that too much in the beginning. Just focus on getting one piece of each armor and weapon in rare form. And the reason you want rares is because rares you will be able to put 2 sockets in each of them, and those 2 sockets will allow you to put gems and runes in, and those you can use to increase your stats. But almost more importantly than that, gems and runes will allow you to play monsters that may be in a different splinter than your summoner. Now, typically what people do when they play SplinterForge, and I'll just show you for an example, when they go to battle this boss, almost everybody is going to say, okay, the 2 summoners that I am going to pick is going to be Lily or sometimes they'll play Kitty, and your other summoner is 9 times out of 10 going to be Conqueror Yasik. Now the reason for this is Conqueror Yasik gives +2 speed, so all your heroes and monsters will attack more often, but also all your creatures are going to have piercing and scattershot, which in this really doesn't matter, except that since your monsters will have these abilities, what the game will do is we'll convert that into your characters doing 1.5 times damage more than they normally would. So for example, if I have Conqueror Yasik and I select him, when I am attacking with my wizard during battle, I'm not going to be doing 10 points of damage, I'm going to be doing 15. So any summoner that gives specific buffs to your team is going to increase your damage by 1.5 times. So that's why almost everyone picks Yasik, is because you're getting the double bonus of your characters are doing 1.5 damage and they're at +2 speed. Lily, the reason people want that is basically for the camouflage, so that only the first monster on your team will be hit. So you won't have to worry about what happens if the boss attacks your hero in round 1 and your healer is dead. So Lily and Yasik are the 2 main summoners that you're going to want to play. The problem is, if you play Lily and Yasik, normally you're only going to be able to play Dragon and Fire, and you're always going to be able to play neutral. So what if you want to play cards from the Life Splinter or the Water Splinter? That's why runes are so important. So like I said, 2 things really to think about is you're going to want to try to get all rare equipment, going to try to get 2 slots in each of your armor and weapon pieces, and I would say the first 2 runes you're going to want to focus on is you're going to want to get a rare rune for life, so you can play 2 life creatures, and you're also going to want to get the one for water. So if I can find the one that is water. Actually, I have a polished one, so that allows me to play 3 water monsters. But if you go to Splex GG, the easiest way to get these items is log into Splex GG, sign in. On the very left side, it'll say Market, so click on that. And then if you scroll on over to the SplinterForge Market, that will bring this page up. You can sort on the right side. You can look for regular foil and or gold foil. You can sort by rarity, and then you can sort by different slots for your character. So if you want to look at just normal, you will click on this. This will get rid of, so it will not show the gold foil version, just the normal version. And I would say pretty much ignore the commons. So just click on the common and then click on it again. This will eliminate the commons. So you will see that's grayed out. So first thing you're going to want to do if you're starting from scratch is go ahead and get 1 piece of each of the armor, weapons, and offhands in rare. Get 1 faded life force rune, so that you can play 2 life monsters. Get a faded water force rune, so you can play 2 water monsters. And the other thing I would say, get 2 faded emeralds, because this is going to give you 8 armor, but more importantly, this is going to give you 8 stat points, and I'll go over that in a minute, why stat points are important. And then you're going to want to get one of each damage rune. So you're going to want to get a Faded Turquoise that will give +3 ranged, a Faded Obsidian +3 attack, and a Faded Amethyst +3 magic, and you should be good to go. So the reason you want 2 Faded Emeralds, this will give you 8 stat points, and then once you put this damage gem in your weapon, this will give you another 3. So what this will do is this will make all of these stats, when combined, at least 21 points. So you need for all of your stats here total to be 20 or higher in bronze to be able to get full Forgium earnings from each battle. Now, the problem is, if you do go ahead and you buy all of this, you're not going to be able to slot your items right away with sockets until you get Electrum, unfortunately. But you're going to want to have these items for when you do. So the amount of Electrum that you get, I will go ahead and show you a quick battle here, is basically based on how much damage you do against the boss. So let's go ahead and we'll do a quick battle. So I'm going to fight the bronze boss. Right now the bronze boss has thorns, so if I attack him with any melee characters, or if my hero is melee, I'm going to take thorns damage. And he has a random ability of retaliate, so if I hit him with a melee attack, he has a 50% chance of hitting me back. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit battle. I'm going to make sure that I do not play the warrior because I do not want to get hit. So I can either play the wizard or I can play the ranger. Let's go ahead and do the ranger because the ranger has slightly higher speed. We're going to pick Lily. We're going to pick Yasik. And then I'm going to sort by favorites. This is another feature that they've added in the last couple months that I really like. You can add favorites, so instead of scrolling through, every card that you own and looking at, okay, how many cards do I have that are 8 mana? How many cards do I have that are 6 mana? Which ones do I want to use? Once you get kind of a set team that you use all the time, what you can do is you can click on the heart above their icon and you can add it to your favorites. And then when you click on favorites, it will only list those. So you don't have to scroll through every battle, all your different monsters. This will save the ones that you specifically want to use in most battles. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, if you play with Lily, the boss will only attack the character in the #1 position on your team. I like using Runemancer Kai. It has flying, good speed, decent armor, has life leech, so it helps it survive a little bit longer. If I was able to use the Kraken, if this did not have the thorns, I would probably use the Kraken, just because of the high damage the Kraken does, armor, health, all that. But for this example, we're going to go with Runemancer Kai. I'm going to want to have a repair, so I went ahead, going to do Scavo Hireling. I like doing, if I can for each team, a couple of slows, because the more you can slow your the boss down is basically the same as giving your team basically a buff in speed. So the more you can slow the boss down, the better. So I like doing Creeping Ooze and Time Mage. Time Mage also, if you have it to level 3, will do 2 points of damage, so that's nice. I like having a heal, so I usually do the Guardian for a heal. And that leaves me, at least for my team, 20 mana that I can use for my last 2. I'm staying away from melee characters or melee monsters simply because of the Thorns rule set. So I'm going with Sea Stalker. Sea Stalker is going to do 4 range damage. And this ability means that normally this card would have an ability, but for SplinterForge, this has been converted into the card doing 1.5 damage. So instead of this card doing 4 points of damage, it's going to do 6. So that's one of the reasons I picked it. Ra, the reason I picked Ra is because he has 3 range damage. Once again, his damage is multiplied by 1.5, so he's doing 4, and then he's doing double strike. So this is the team that I've put together. If you scroll down on the right, this character is in the first position. Scavo is in second. If you wanted to rearrange, you can click and drag. You can put them in whatever order you want. I like putting, of course, your tank has to go first. I like putting the healer towards the back, and then I like doing my damage dealers in the very back. Because what will happen if you have Lily is it'll kill the first monster, then the second, then the third. So you want to keep your damage towards the back if possible. So once you have your team set, go ahead and click battle. It'll load the fight. Now, if you are new to doing this and playing SplinterForge, I would highly suggest that you click Start Fight, that you don't just click Skip, just so you can kind of see how the battle plays out. You can see how the damage is dealt. So right now this will go through all the buffs in the beginning. So I'm getting the plus health from Lily, the camouflage. I'm getting the +2 speed from Yasik. He's applying piercing, and which piercing won't do a lot, but it will basically make all of these characters do 1.5 damage if they're not already. As you can see, Jovac hit for 15 damage instead of 10. That's because he got the 1.5 times boost because he has Scattershot. So animations are kind of basic. There's some features of this I'm hoping that they improve in the future. Sometimes when like the boss will do damage, it doesn't apply, you can't see it right away. It kind of lags. But this is good to give you kind of an idea of how the battle works, how your team is doing damage. You can speed it up or slow it down on the right. You can either hit the plus button to speed it up, the negative button to slow it down. If you want to just skip to rewards, you can hit skip. This will show you how much damage that you're doing and how much forgium that you earn for the battle. So for this battle, I did 1,314 points of damage, and I earned 20.76 forgium, and also 21 electrum and 21 experience. Now, if you don't have any gold foil equipment, you need to do at least 350 damage to the bronze boss to get full payout in forgium, and the full payout without gold foil equipment in bronze is approximately 12.5 forge. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get all the gold foil equipment that I could for rares, is because my earnings have gone from 12.5 per battle to about 18.75 per battle. And when you're battling constantly every day, that really adds up. So another feature that you can do if you don't have a lot of time and you want to kind of minimize how much time you're playing the game, when you go to click on the boss, if he has the rule sets that you like, go ahead and hit battle. Once again, select your team. So I'm going to select the same 2 summoners. The rule set is backfire, which I'm not worried about, so that's why I didn't change it. I'm going to go ahead and click on favorites again. I'm going to pick the same team. Now instead of clicking battle, what I'm going to do is click the button below it, which is battle ×2. Now normally when you fight a battle, no matter how many monsters you use, you're going to use 30 of your stamina. If you do the battle ×2, you're going to use 60 of that stamina, but all of your earnings are going to be doubled. So if you feel really confident that you've got a really good team and you're fighting, a boss that has the rule sets that you like, go ahead and do the ×2. So now when I skip to rewards, remember last time I did like 1,300 damage? Now it doubles it. So this time I earned, through the 2 battles, 2,500 damage, and my 20.75 got doubled, so now I'm getting 41.5 forge per battle. So this is a way, because I have 3 accounts. I have 2 in bronze and 1 that I fight usually against the silver boss. So this allows me to play these 3 accounts pretty quickly. You're only allowed to play against each boss with 2 accounts. So if you have 3, 4, 5 accounts, that's fine as long as you play 2 against bronze, 2 against silver, and so on. I think most people, if they're playing SplinterForge, are probably only playing 1 or 2 accounts. So if you want to play those both against the bronze or silver, that's perfectly fine. As you can see, my stamina went down, so I'm down to 78 stamina. I like the rule sets, so let's go ahead and fight the bronze boss again. Go ahead and click battle. Once again, same thing. So once you get your Your summoners that you like, you get the runes so that you're able to play the splinters that you think are the best for your team. You set your team as favorites, so you don't have to scroll through all of them every time. It is a lot of repetition, but as you can see, it goes pretty quickly. But the thing that people, I guess, don't see is it took a lot of work to get to this point, because you had to go through trial and error, trying different monsters to try to get the best team. I'll just go through, let's go through real quick for each mana, what I usually do. Okay, so for the 1 mana, pretty much the only one I'll do is Creeping Ooze, just to get that slow. Creeping Ooze I think is pretty much a must-have. For 2 mana, ones that you can use, Armor Smith for the armor repair. If you don't have a lot of mana and you really don't have 3 mana to spend for the Scavo, if you're able to play Life, go ahead and use Armor Smith. That one is a good card. The other one I don't think I have currently right now, I don't see it, is the neutral, if you can get the Halfling Alchemist to do the halving ability. The halving ability will work on the boss, but it's not a guarantee. I think it's 50% chance, and it will not lower their stat below 3. So if you're fighting, especially in the higher leagues where some of the bosses' attacks are 6, 7, 8 or higher, Halfling Alchemist will really come in handy. For the 3 manas, there's a lot of 3 manas that I like. You can use True Speaker, just to give everybody a couple points of armor. Any healers that you can get are good at 3. Scavo Hireling is another great card. Sometimes Spirit Hoarder, just to get a little bit of a heal and do a little bit of magic damage, is good. Tidebiter for 3 damage, you're going to end up doing, with his 1.5 multiplier, you're going to end up doing 3 damage for 3 mana, plus he's got a good speed. Is there any other ones? I think those are pretty much the ones I use for 3. 4 mana, the 2 that I use almost all the time, if I can, are the Venari Crystal Smith for the heal and a little bit of range damage, and the Time Mage. If you can play Life, definitely get your Time Mage to level 3 so that you do the 2 magic damage. That really comes into play, and the slow is really good. One I have played occasionally when I play a melee team is I like the Twilight Basilisk for the 2 damage. Then the multiplier is basically 3 damage for 4 mana, plus he has a little bit of armor already and okay hit points. The Ravenwood Warden is definitely a huge one too, now that you have an ability to add another creature that will give +2 armor to your entire team. So the Warden is another good card. But it's a soulbound card, so you may have it or may not. But I think at this point, most people have at least 1 BCX of it. I don't think I usually play much in 5 mana. Ones I have before the Striker when I can do a melee team, because he's going to be doing 4 points of damage, decently fast, good hit points. Venari Wavesmith I've played from time to time, once again, just basically for the armor. Silent Shavi does decent damage for 5 mana as well. You get up to 6. One of the strategies that was popular when SplinterForge first came out was the melee Inspire team. So you would play Kraken, you would play the Knight, you would play the Shark, so that you've got the double Inspire. You would play the Warrior, throw in an armor repair and a couple healers, and you were good to go. So for 6 mana, if you're going for melee, definitely do the Silver Shield Knight and the Demented Shark. For 7 mana, another good card that went with that melee team was the Silver Shield Assassin with the double strike. Jin Renova, if you are playing the melee team and you have the Kraken, you want to play Jin Renova to give the Kraken 1 extra health. If it goes to 15 health, it would heal for 1 extra point. So that is a good card to have. Adelaide Brightwing for the repair and the magic damage is another good card. I've used Mortius a little bit for the high damage. I think in the beginning I also used Disintegrator. If I notice that the boss I'm playing has, like this one does, 5 or higher melee damage, I might throw in Disintegrator just to give him a little bit of a demoralize. For 8, I don't really use Shield Bearer. I have used Countess Sinesh for the high damage. If you own this card in Gladius, Tatiana Blade for the basically the double attack with the ranged and the melee. This one could be a good card. Genoshanis is decent. So there are a lot of options that you can play with these cards. 9, I think I've recently used Runic Skyclaw. And then for 10 and above, Archimus the Bear. It won't work in bronze, but if you play silver or higher, definitely get this level 4 to get the halving ability. Chaos Dragon is great if you have enough mana on your team. And then, like I said, for my team, currently I'm using Runemancer Kai for my tank, and I'm using Ra for a damage dealer. So you have lots of different choices. Like I said, a lot of it depends on what cards you own or rent, what kind of strategies you want to use. Pretty much the main thing is what the boss has. So what the boss has for its main ability will kind of dictate how you build your team. Okay guys, so I know I went through a lot of information. You probably have a lot more questions, but just to kind of recap real quick, if you are new to SplinterForge and not used to it, definitely start playing the bronze boss. If you don't have a whole lot of equipment and you don't feel like just buying crates and getting things randomly, go on Hive, get some Forgium, and then come on over to Splex GG. Go ahead and buy the cards that you need. Like I said, go ahead and get one of each rare. Get a couple of those runes. Get your Water Rune and your Life Rune. Play some battles until you are able to get enough Electrum to slot your runes in your items, and go from there. Once you get the basics down, once you get your heroes slightly geared, it'll start to snowball from there. But it's just sometimes the hardest part is just getting started. So like I said, get your rare gear, get your 2 slots in each, put some gems in them, try to get all these to 10 or just slightly above 10 as quickly as you can. And then it's just that repetition. It's just that grind. Go ahead and battle. Like I said, I battle in the morning, get my stamina down. I'll battle again before I go to bed. I consistently get 1,000 or more forge a day, and that's just playing in bronze. There's probably people that get a lot more than that. I'm consistently on the leaderboard, so I'll consistently get 3,000, 4,000, or 5,000 forge every 2 or 3 days when the boss dies. I'll take that forge and just kind of either reinvest it in the game, or I will, for my alt, I will take it and convert it to DEC. And recently I've been converting it to SBS. So another thing that is great about SplinterForge is that the Forgium is instantly liquid. It's not like SPS that automatically gets staked. So you can take this forge, you can send it to, let me just show you that real quick too to wrap up the video. So you want to refresh the page so it shows this. You can click on Forgium. This will show how much you have in game. You can type in whatever amount you want. Type 400, and then you could click withdraw, and this will withdraw it, and this will send it to your Hive account. So if I click withdraw, it'll go ahead and withdraw. I'll confirm the transaction. You can see the in-game has now dropped to 26, and I'll refresh this a couple of times, and in just a few seconds I will have 400 Forgium. Yep, there's the 400 Forge, and it's in my Hive wallet. So then I can go ahead and I can just let it sit there. I can convert it over to DEC, SPS, whatever I'd like. So there you have it, guys. So like I said, hope you guys are enjoying SplinterForge. I mean, I love it. I know it's repetitious, but there is a lot of good things coming up soon. We're going to have adventure mode. We're going to have hero leveling and skills, which is going to be exciting. At some point in the future, your heroes, once you level them up, these heroes will become NFTs, and you will be able to buy, sell, and trade them on the marketplace. So I'm sure that's a few months away, but very excited about the future of SplinterForge, and hope you guys are too. So as always, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. And until then, stay the course and definitely keep on forging.